whether it's time to stop denying citizenship to responsible young people just because they were brought here as children of undocumented immigrants. I know where I stand on this.
The nation knows where the president stands on this. The nation anxiously awaiting the Supreme Court's ruling on the Affordable Health Care Act, but my next guest says it won't matter because the country's in trouble no matter how the high court rules. Doug Johnson writes the Horse Sense blog, political commentary from a businessman's perspective, also the author of No Tomorrows, How to Halt America's Imminent Collapse and Return to the American Dream and Why It Must Start with the 2012 elections. Doug, welcome back to the Morning Update. You're saying the ruling on Obamacare doesn't make that much difference. Why?
Well, and of course that's a little bit of a stretch just because you have a short space for a title to an op-ed. But the fact is that certainly if Obamacare is upheld by the Supreme Court, it poses devastating consequences for us and for our economy that I'm not sure we could ever pull out of. However, if it's struck down, we still have issues. Healthcare is still expensive. And neither Obamacare nor what is currently around or what they're talking about really will do much to fix that. They talk about trying to find ways to control costs, but nobody ever asks the key question, which I love. Actually, I don't love, I get upset about. And that question is, what is affordable? I mean, nobody defines that term. They just say affordable. They figure they save you a little bit of money, that's fine. But in a recent study, I actually think it goes back to about 2009 or 10, USA Today reported that the average family health insurance premium in the nation right now is over $13,000 a year. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a lot of money. And I think most people would say it's got to be cut quite dramatically. And nobody talks about the amount they can cut it because there is no real way to cut it significantly without some severe and tough consequences.
You have written that one of the keys to saving America is fixing the economy. There are those on the right that would say the country will be fine just by doing away with health care reform. What would you say to them?
I would say if health care reform went away, we still face a problem that I believe if we stay on the path we're on right now, our nation will collapse economically within the next 4 years. It's that dramatic. It's that dire, and I talk about that in the book. And I talk about the solutions. What is killing us is debt. Debt always kills an economy, whether it be your budget in your home, in a business, or in a nation, and that's what's killing us right now.
Do you see us heading to where Greece is now?
If we don't stop real quickly, yes, absolutely.
You wrote the big difference between the solutions to health care being offered by the Republicans and the president is that Obamacare takes away your liberties while also destroying the economy. What do you mean by that?
Well, you lose freedom of a lot of choices. The government will determine what you can have, what you can't have as far as health care. And some people would say, well, insurance companies do that. But insurance companies just say we will or won't pay for something. It's covered or it's not. The government will say you will not get this. In fact, it looks at if Obamacare is upheld, it will be illegal to go out and purchase services outside of Obamacare if you're covered by it, which means that even if you have the money for a treatment that they won't cover, you can't do it.
You warn if the federal law is struck down, then the Obama administration will start working to get socialized medicine passed individually in each state. How might it do that?
Well, I think, they do something like Romney did in Massachusetts, which has shown it's got some problems, some severe problems, but they do that. And one of the advantages they have in doing that, even though it's a much slower process because you got to go state by state, is most of the state constitutions are not as restrictive as the U.S. Constitution. So they can put in an individual mandate and require that every citizen purchase health care. And that is not something the U.S. Constitution would have any say over. So it could be a really difficult situation, but I think they would just take that slow march and work their way through the states and try and get it that way.
Well, Doug, let's say the entire Affordable Health Care Act is struck down by the high court. What would you urge Republicans and Democrats to do at that point in terms of getting a handle on this country's health care problems?
Well, I think there's a couple things, and education is always important. I think they need to get educated from the public. They need to literally start to talk to the public about what do you expect, what do you want. Now, there are people who will want the extremes. They want everything covered for nothing. But you have to hit a balance, and they have to figure out what's a reasonable coverage to have, and then start to open the door. Regulation is killing the insurance industry. I've done a lot of work around that industry, consulting and such over the years, and they have to cover by law so many things. It drives costs up and up and up. And if they gave you a choice and said, look, a basic plan everybody offers, that's good, but you can choose to then make that a richer plan if you choose. So you could say, well, I want mental health coverage on my plan, so I'll pay a little extra to get that. Somebody else may say, I'm not worried about that. If I need some kind of counseling or help, I'll just go ahead and pay for that out of pocket. I don't want to put it in my premium. And let them have more freedom in what they choose to buy. I think that will do a lot for competitiveness. Plus, opening the markets up, obviously, nationally, that will will have some effect, but not as much as people think as far as competition.
Doug Johnson writes the Horse Sense blog and is the author of No Tomorrows. Thank you for being with us again this morning, Doug.
That's great. People can check me out at Doug Johnson online.